The Spanish selection is out. Spain may not look like a celebrity team, but their results are terrifying. During De La Fuente's unbeaten surge, they stacked up 24 wins and 5 draws. They still have Ballon d'Or winner Rodri, Premier League winner Zubimendi, and Lamine Yamal leading the machine. But 5 problems are waiting underneath, and one could crack Spain wide open. 1. Lamine fitness and depth problem. The first problem starts with Spain's most dangerous player. Lamine Yamal is not just the exciting teenager in this squad, he is the player who changes how teams defend Spain before the first whistle. When Lamine starts on the right, the opponent cannot defend normally. The left back needs help. The nearest midfielder gets pulled across. The centre back has to worry about the cut inside. One player suddenly bends 3 defenders toward him. That is what makes him different. Spain have midfield control with Rodri, Pedri, Zubimendi, Fabian, Baena and Merino. They can keep the ball against almost anyone, but Lamine gives them something control alone cannot give: fear. He can beat the first defender without needing a perfect passing move. He can receive wide, slow the game down, and then speed it up in one touch. He can make a deep block move when everyone else is passing in front of it, so if he is not fully fit, Spain lose more than a winger. They lose their best shortcut. He might still be available, he might still start, he might still give Spain quality. But there is a big difference between Lamine being on the pitch and Lamine being explosive. At a World Cup, that difference can decide a knockout tie. Spain do have options. Ferran Torres can play wide or central. Yeremy Pino brings running and work rate. Dani Olmo can move between the lines. Oyarzabal is intelligent. Nico Williams gives pace from the left. Victor Munoz adds another body in the front line, but none of them replace the exact problem Lamine creates. The concern gets bigger if Nico is also not at full speed. Spain need threat on both wings. Without it, their attack can become narrow, technical and predictable. Spain can still dominate the ball without Lamine at his best. The question is whether they can still scare defenders. 2. Uruguay as the final group match. Spain's second problem is not the group itself, it is the order. Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, then Uruguay. That last name changes everything. On paper, Spain should expect to qualify. They should expect to control the first 2 matches. They should expect to enter the final group game in a strong position. But World Cups rarely follow the paper version. If Spain drop points early, Uruguay becomes a pressure match. If Spain already qualify, Uruguay becomes a rotation trap. If first place is still open, Spain may have to play their best team when they would rather protect legs for the knockout round. That is what makes this awkward. Uruguay are not the kind of team you want in Game 3. They are intense, they are physical, they are emotional. They can make a clean technical match feel uncomfortable very quickly. Spain want rhythm, Uruguay can break rhythm. Spain want controlled possession, Uruguay can drag them into duels. Spain want their fullbacks high, Uruguay can attack the space behind them. Spain want Lamine managed carefully. Uruguay may force De La Fuente to use him longer than planned. This does not mean Spain are afraid of Uruguay. Spain are still better with the ball and their midfield has more control. But Uruguay do not need the ball for long spells to make a game dangerous. They need one loose pass, one second ball, one counter into the channel, one moment where Spain's shape is stretched. That is why the final group game could become a real test of maturity. Can Spain manage the occasion without getting dragged into Uruguay's kind of match? Spain may want the third game to be calm. Uruguay are built to make it ugly. 3. Breaking low blocks. Spain's third problem is the one that connects directly to the striker debate. What happens when the opponent refuses to open the game? Against Cabo Verde and Saudi Arabia, Spain may have the ball for long stretches. The opponent can drop deep, protect the middle, crowd the box and basically say, fine, keep passing, but prove you can turn possession into goals. Spain can pass, nobody doubts that. Rodri can set the rhythm, Zubimendi can help control the first phase, Pedri can receive in tight spaces, Fabian can carry the ball forward, Merino can arrive late, Olmo can drift into pockets. The midfield is strong enough to make most teams chase, but chasing is not the same as breaking. If Spain move the ball too slowly, the game starts helping the defender. After half an hour, the pressure changes. Spain still have the ball, but the smaller team starts believing. The crowd gets nervous, the final pass gets rushed. A corner suddenly feels dangerous. One counter-attack suddenly feels like a warning. That is how World Cup shocks begin. This is where Lamine and Nico matter. They give Spain 1v1 danger. They force defenders to step out of the block. They make the shape move. If they are not sharp, Spain need other ways to hurt the opponent. Olmo has to find pockets, Pedri has to play faster through the lines, Fabian has to shoot when the lane opens, Marino has to attack the penalty area, the fullbacks have to stretch the pitch without leaving the team open. But all of those solutions eventually lead to the same place, the box. Spain do not need more possession, they need possession that ends with someone arriving where the goal is. And that is where the number 9 question becomes impossible to separate from the low block problem. 4. The number 9 question. Spain have attackers, but they still do not have a striker who makes the role feel completely solved. Ferran Torres can play through the middle, Oyarzabal is smart and flexible, Dani Olmo can work as a false 9, Borja Iglesias gives them a more natural reference point. Those are useful options, but none of them fully end the debate. The bigger question is, who Spain decided not to bring. Gonzalo Garcia is the kind of name people will bring up if Spain struggle in the box. He is young, works hard off the ball, and gives them a different profile. A proper penalty area striker who moves between centre-backs, attacks loose balls, and looks alive whenever the ball drops inside the 6-yard box. In a tournament, that type of forward can matter even without being the biggest name in the squad. Spain may not need him when the game is open, but what happens when Lamine beats his man, cuts inside, and there is no ruthless striker attacking the 6-yard box? What happens when the passing is beautiful but the box is empty? What happens when Spain need one scrappy goal to avoid extra time? A false 9 gives Spain control. It helps them overload midfield and pull defenders away from their position. Against strong teams, that can be valuable. But against low blocks, control can turn into sterile possession if nobody is occupying the centre-backs. A traditional striker gives Spain presence. He gives defenders someone to mark, attacks crosses, and offers a simpler route when the passing becomes too neat. The space behind Spain's fullbacks. Let's be honest, do any of Spain's fullbacks belong among the top 5 right-backs or left-backs in the world? Cucurella gives energy and aggression. Grimaldo gives delivery and technical quality. Pedro Porro can attack and cross. Marc Pubil adds another option. Marcos Llorente can cover different roles. Eric Garcia can help as a hybrid defender, but this is the concern. Spain's fullbacks are better going forward than they are defending huge spaces behind them, and Spain's style naturally creates those spaces. The fullbacks push high, the wingers stay wide or come inside, the midfielders move ahead of the ball. Everything looks controlled until one pass gets lost. Then the opponent has a target, a diagonal behind Grimaldo, a runner outside Porro, a fast break into the channel Cucurella just left. Against weaker teams, Spain may survive it. Against Uruguay or a serious knockout opponent, that space becomes dangerous. Spain can control the ball for long periods, but one bad turnover can turn their attacking shape into a defensive problem. Their fullbacks can help them dominate games, but they may also be the first place opponents try to attack. Spain are not weak, their results prove that. But World Cups punish details. Lamine's fitness, Uruguay last, low blocks, the striker question, and fullback space. Solve those, and Spain can win it. Miss one, and the team exposing them may know where to attack. Like, subscribe, and watch the next video on your screen, because this World Cup punishes details.
Average players train hard, elite players train smart. We didn't just build a mat, we engineered a blueprint for the 1%. Every line, every angle, and every drill was crafted through months of studying elite player biomechanics. Translate muscle memory into matchday dominance. Goal 90's own training mat comes with the app to take you to the next level. Get yours today.